I'm going to go to the bathroom and check on Lady Rackets, and then I'll be back in a few, and then we will continue on with the main. Look, I saved actually all the topics just for y'all. I hope the chair says a bunch of racist shit to you. Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry about the delay, as always. Ellie says, Nick, need a longer P song or loop it more. Well, Ellie, my goal is to actually eliminate my mid-show break at some point soon as I get scheduling more nailed down. Is like I've tried to express it. Maybe I'll just say it more explicitly. It's a temporary solution to a long-term problem. But eliminating the problem is the more important. Like having the solution isn't ideal. So what I'd rather do is eliminate the problem. And part of that involves some changes to the show, like scheduling and shit like that I'm working on. So once that's done, there won't be a break and there won't be anything necessary. I do apologize when it takes a little longer to come back. So but for now, that's the way it is. I humbly beg your forgiveness and ask you for patience on that. And as I get that hammered out and ironed out and whatever other out you need, other than being out of the closet, once that's done, it won't be a deal at all. Just as a brief, like mildly candid aside, there's a bunch of things that I have done in my relationship that were really convenient at a time, and they worked at a time, and then they stopped working, or they stopped being necessary, we'll say. But I kind of coasted through that necessity and just kind of rode the convenience of not changing. Well, doing stuff like that, while it may be minor in a moment, can build up over time and cause, it can, like, small tears can cause a large rip at some point. And so the kind of the scheduling of my show, the way I've done it for a long time, has become really not become, but it's more and more apparent that the scheduling that I have chosen has been like the convenient and proper schedule for so long isn't actually ideal. So finding that ideal is a big priority for me right now. One that's very good for my family, but also very good for my audience, and trying to honor both of those things and provide the best show I can, while also, keeping the home front positive, upbeat, stable, and eliminating those failures that we often do when we stop considering other people. And that will, like, the overall the residual effects of that is, when things are working better in other aspects of your life, your show is better too. When things are stressful and anxiety riddled, your mind isn't always in the right place. And people have pointed that out in various ways, and they think they know why, and that's great. They're usually wrong. But working to remedy that is part of what you do as a married couple. Finding those things, identifying them, and they're not always obvious either. It's not always like, oh, well, I just should have known this. Like, well, no, you got to get back and forth from each person. You have to identify places where things are actually not working out the way you want them to. And then you find and work for solutions. So, like, to be in a moment of like pure candor, the show schedule and the way I do it has been a good fit for a long time. It's not as good of a fit now, but it's the internet. You can't just 180-degree heel turn on what you do, because that doesn't work either. And that doesn't provide, like, sort of fidelity to the people who have brought you to where you are. And so in wanting to, like, make sure I'm able to deliver a good product or a good show effectively, or a better me, I don't know, maybe, to the people who have supported me all this time, like, wanting to make sure I prioritize and keep those people in mind, while also keeping my home life to be a better fit. Like, to me, that's what a husband is supposed to do with work-life balance. And I just put off work-life balance for a really long time. So the temporary effect is long pee breaks in the middle. Because if I go upstairs and Lady Rackets is awake, I talk to her. It's a lot of times, it's some of the like first conversation we have in a long time during the day. Other times it's just like the day is finally processed down and we're not talking about anything important. We just get to say hi, like, oh yeah, I remember you. And like that's a nice moment that we don't always get. So other times I go upstairs and she's asleep and I just kiss her on the forehead and come back downstairs. So that's the way it goes. But to be candid, to be open with everybody without being offensive or anything, that's just part of being married for a long time. Is your life and situations change, your relationship can change for the good or the bad, but you're in control of that. The North Star says, Nick, please, who are you trying to convince, us or you? I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Like, you could disbelieve me all you want or believe me. I don't really fucking give a shit. I'm just telling you what I do during my break about an hour, hour and 10, hour and 20 minutes into the show. That's what I do. That's why I'm gone for, sometimes I'm gone for 10, 15 minutes and I'm sorry, but that's just the reality. And I'm hoping to eliminate that. But for now, that's what it is. So there you go. Then stop over explaining. It's every night. Yeah. Marriage is every day. I don't know if you know this. Like, I'm not sure if you get it, but like there's 7 days a week. It's not like, wow, 2 of these you're married. No, it's like all of them. People ask, I try and answer. I try and be like candid and open about as much as I can because I think it's fucking important. Because I think people go through life and in this fucking weird social media place, in this weird place, especially of entertainers and influencers and all this shit, you get so many people dishonestly telling you what life is like. So here I am with an opportunity to tell you what life is like and some of the challenges you face as someone who's been married for 2 fucking decades and became a public figure somewhere in the middle of that. Like, this is what it is, man. It's weird. I'm going through it and learning as I go too. Figured sharing it would be something that people would be interested in. If you're not, I'm sorry. But I've always tried to be as open and honest as possible. People get really pissed off about it, but then they get pissed off when you're not.